morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the SharinGANG. I'm Clockwork Nerd.
I'm that guy.
And I'm PT64. Sorry, I thought you were going to do your. Your usual things where people can find you on. I do apologise. That's why I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Leave them till later.
We could save that to the end, didn't it?
Yeah.
Save it to the end. Makes more sense. Don't worry about it. Don't worry, we can edit all this out anyway. It's fine.
Exactly. So today, guys, Juni Taisen.
Oi.
The Zodiac War.
The Zodiac War. Spoiler warning here. We are going to be covering the anime in its entirety, so if you haven't watched it yet and you don't like spoilers, go watch it.
Yeah,
I'll probably give you a minute and 30 seconds before there actually is spoilers in this, and we won't give you any other warning because we will probably forget to.
That's why I did it then, because I thought about it.
Yeah, good job.
Completely agree. Yeah, the biggest alert for spoilers, because we will be talking about everything. And as Clockwork says, if you're not into it, guys, then return once you've smashed it, right? Only 12 episodes, so no excuse.
I would say it's a pretty short one.
It is. It's definitely worth the watch if you haven't watched it. So go away and watch it right now.
Absolutely. So yes, Juni Taisen, the Zodiac War. Originally manga published back in 2015, early 2015. And I believe from there, the anime followed in 2017, a couple of years afterwards. It came around in 2017.
Which surprised me when I watched it.
Surprising.
It's one that you recommended to me. Quite sort of, what's the word?
Yeah, it was quite a while ago, to be fair.
Yeah, with gusto. You recommended it to me with gusto multiple times. And I finally got around to watching it, assuming it was something quite recent. But then doing a bit of looking into it, found that 2017 is when it was dated on the old Crunchyroll, wasn't it?
Yeah. Like it's it was quite some time ago. But I mean, to give you guys a general premise of what it is essentially the easiest way we can put it is a battle royale. Yeah. It's essentially a battle royale between 12 Zodiac warriors. So one of them, well, all of them, should I say, sorry, all represent one of the Zodiac animals.
So the Chinese New Year.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Animals with that story, yeah.
Absolutely. So you've got someone representing the rat, the ox, the tiger, the rabbit, the dragon, the snake, the horse, the sheep, the monkey, the chicken, the dog, and the boar. I do believe. Have I missed any?
No, that was it. That was all 12.
Yeah, there you go. The boar, yes. I mean, we're here to discuss it, and you don't even know who she is.
You don't remember the boar?
Oh. Concerning.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes. Okay. Sorry.
Right at the beginning.
First character.
Okay. That's why, isn't it? Because I've obviously I'm well into the anime. I'm thinking about like how it ended, which we'll get onto later on. Like that's just where my head is at because it's just I can't find words for it.
And this right here, dear listeners, is why I rewatched it. This is why I rewatched it. Ready?
I literally rewatched the death of each character like 20 minutes before recording this.
Brilliant.
And, already forgot.
I still forgot. But never mind.
Out of all of them, I mean, we'll probably discuss this in a bit more detail later on. But in my defense, like out of all of them, the boar's probably the one I would have. Nah. I would have forgotten the horse. But yeah, never mind. Anyway, crack on. Yeah.
Fair. Yeah. No. Understandable. I mean, this is something as well we'll get into. Obviously, characters that stood out for us individually, characters that we weren't particularly a fan of. I mean, don't get me wrong, I can pretty much guarantee in advance that we'll agree on quite a lot of favoured characters.
Yeah.
There's the odd one that I wasn't as bothered about, but I've got to say there wasn't anyone I particularly hated as a character. And there is normally at least one character that you think, fuck this guy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I was all for hating. Was it rooster or chicken?
Chicken.
I mean, chicken, but it looks like a rooster. She looks like a rooster.
Yeah, she does. But yes, it's chicken. Yeah.
Like, cock, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I was trying, like, I was expecting, like, okay, she gets introduced, and I'm like, okay, this is going to be the character that I don't like. And I've assumed I don't like her up until the point where I've realized I actually like her. Yeah. Because she's got that annoying sort of character nature about her, that odd character in this situation.
Which thankfully explains itself as you go
Yeah.
along.
Yeah, it does.
Because it gives you those first impressions of each of the characters. It gives you all of the impressions. I feel I didn't include Sheep in my list.
No, you did. I counted. You did all 12.
Fair.
don't worry.
For some reason, it just popped in my
Don't
mind,
worry.
and I was like, did I miss him? But
No.
regardless, I think it deliberately gives you that first impression of all of them. Not really giving you much, just looking on appearances to deliberately deceive you into thinking, well, you're going down easy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
then,
this is one of the. It takes you on a journey. Like it actually. When I say it moves you, I don't mean it moves you in a way where you feel like crying or
emotionally,
like it is literally a roller coaster. This thing takes you from, because if you've watched a lot of anime, then you're going to feel this more than if you haven't watched a lot of anime, because it uses the typical anime tropes of like, it gives you a build up, gives you the backstory of the character, gives you like the detailed sort of description of their ability.
makes you relate to them.
and then
And then boom.
Yeah.
And then it does it again and again,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Even rewatching bits, I'm like, I just never expected that character to be ended then.
I know.
That's not the rules of anime. Once you've watched so much anime, you learn the rules of anime, the tropes of anime.
Yeah.
It uses that against you. Just
It's
to
like
get you
the-
into, I'm about to see something epic, and then that character you was expecting just to go Super Saiyan level
Yeah.
12 just gets killed. You're like, where did that come from? You know what I mean?
What would now be like in this day and age, after obviously having finished and whatnot, it's what like people would always refer to now as like the Game of Thrones technique. Just when you're adamant that someone's safe, they're not. Anybody can go down. Do you know what I mean? And this is the thing. And it's, even though you know it's a battle royale, it's an anime, just like you were saying. And anime 9 times out of 10, it has rules. And the rules are, goody characters, nice characters that you can relate to. They're untouchable. They've got plot armor, but nobody.
So much Bleach. I remember the first time watching Bleach, and the first time I saw Gin, or Jin, however you want to. Gin. I was just like, he's a bad guy, definitely, 100%.
It's the eyes, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You just know from the eyes. It's just the rule. If they're wrapped up in bandages, they're a badass.
Instant.
And if they've got slinty eyes, they're a bad guy. That's just how it works.
yeah, it's so true. So true. We can't go off on that tangent.
Sorry. Yeah.
No. I'm just saying we can't for Clockwork
But
more than anything. Trust me, I could. Trust me, I could. But I'm just saying, like, obviously, because I was going to say something, and I realised, no, I can't be doing that. Because risks.
Pulling it back to this, because you got to carry on watching it, Clockwork.
Yes,
but,
absolutely you do.
Pulling it back to this, like this doesn't really like follow them, but it doesn't annoy me. It's not like I feel it's a bad anime because of it. It makes it even better.
Oh no, it's so much more. It's so much more like what can I say? Like adrenaline fueled. Anything could happen at any moment. Like. And it really is one of those situations where you will go from it being like it's all good to it really isn't all good. Like, and it happens so fast. I mean, straight off the bat. So obviously, again, going into like the premise right at the beginning for you listeners. The idea is obviously, in fact, you know what? I'm so prepared that I even wrote some notes.
Oh my god.
Get on the notes, bro.
No.
This is how prepared I am. I literally sat and rewatched it and made notes through every episode. But regardless, right?
Go for it, man. Give us the rundown.
So basically, the Juni Taisen Battle Royale is held every 12 years. So 1 year for every Zodiac. Obviously, as we've said, it's the royale between 12 noble families. The setting changes every time. So every 12 years, the setting will be different. So just as a perfect example, you learn that Sheep in this particular Zodiac War is actually a winner of a previous Juni Taisen. So you find out that Sheep is a winner, and this Juni Taisen happened to be in space. On a fucking space station, literally happened to be on a space station, and Sheep managed to basically, because he's a master of like explosives and bombs and whatnot, he literally managed to fuck off like out of there on an escape pod and blow the entire thing up. So he ended up winning. Bad man, right? And it changed every time. In this particular instance, they have quite literally wiped out a population of 500,000 people from a city just for an arena.
Which is a bit odd because obviously later on, after you learn that fact, later on you learn that the last one or one of the ones before was in a space station. You're like, oh, okay. I'll just take this town then. Fine, thanks. I would have rather watched the one in space, but you know,
Well, that ended pretty quickly.
We straight away, space battles, but straight away. It also you get those alarm bells immediately saying if this organization, shall we say, can wipe out a city of 500,000 people and nobody's fucking batting an eyelid, the people who organize this, they are like some Illuminati shit, right?
Oh yeah,
they are like world controlling.
Pretty much is. I mean, once we find out about that whole part of it, and you know the whole reason behind this tournament or this battle royale. That just easily slides into the whole NWO-esque type of thing.
Oh, it's crazy. I mean, you literally learn.
Up countries and selling them on.
I was just about to say, you literally learn that instead of betting even billions, trillions of whatever money they might be using, these people are literally betting countries on the line. So they are betting on who they think is going to win, and then they are betting countries on it, which is just absolutely insane. And this particular one, again, the rules of it change. So in previous ones, you learn that Boar, at that particular Juni Taisen in the past. So
the previous winner, wasn't it? The one before this one.
Yeah, so basically, Boar's, like the current for the Juni Taisen that we watch, Boar in that, her father won the previous one. And in that one, you find out that he literally fucked off miles and miles away from where they started just to go into a densely populated city to win, because that was like better turf for him. So there were literally no rules. Like, you could go anywhere as long as you're the last man standing. However, this time around, they're all required to swallow what just looks like a gem that turns out to be a hardened poison.
And it's a hefty gem as well.
A hefty gem, yeah.
It's a big old gem.
Right.
You have got to be seriously versed in the deep throat. Right?
Or took that down, no problem, is all I'm saying.
I was going to say, like, you know, some of the ladies, I didn't expect much trouble, but nobody seemed to struggle getting that fucking down. And let me tell you, I would not have been getting that gem down. It's a beast. And the idea is that in 12 hours' time, they will dissolve and kill, obviously, the person who has consumed it. So there is a time limit in this particular Juni Taisen. So the winner,
but they're still free to go wherever they want if they wanted to.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The point.
And then basically they've got to collect all the beast gems and be the last man standing. And the winner gets granted any wish they desire. Anything at all.
That's so insane as a grand prize, isn't it? Any wish you desire.
Anything. And the thing is, it doesn't actually stipulate. I'll say this now for anybody who's curious. We don't know. I can speak for us all when I say we do not know what that entails in terms of practicality, the supernatural. Even though people do discuss, oh, well, one of us could win and then wish all the rest back to life.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, we don't know how this whole you can have anything you want works.
What's an interesting thing that I've just realised is there was no mention of what Boar's dad wished for, was there?
No.
Nope.
Or
at all.
No.
Like,
Nor do you see it.
You saw him a bit, and I was going to say, there was nothing to even lead you to believe that's he just, what did he wish for? Like,
I'm going to say, you see him being a cock.
He was well off. I mean, big house, he's got, you know, was it wealth? Was he broke ass before, maybe? And
can't have been. Because
all those families are pretty wealthy anyway.
I was just about to say, exactly, like Clockwork said, they're all part of the 12 noble families, and if you are brought into that family, you have got the peas.
Yeah, you're already
every single one of them, you know.
Interesting.
So that's the general premise of Juni Taisen. So you guys now know, obviously, the idea behind it, the history of it, etc., etc. And now, of course, we will go into the actual series itself.
The beans that lay under that sauce.
Absolutely. So, guys, thoughts?
Right, well, I'm gonna go first, man. Like,
Cover.
started watching it, and it focuses on Boar first of all, which leads you to think she's going to be like a lead character. It focuses on her in such a way that you think she's going to be a lead character. You're going to follow her. But the first moment of it where I knew I like this, this is a standout one for me, is when Monkey blew the floor from when they're still like, it's just started. They usually would all go and split their own way and whatnot. It's what you're expecting, but you know, Monkey starts that pacifist talk about joining up and whatever.
Yeah, she starts trying to bang people
as soon
together.
as it goes sideways, as soon as someone gets a bit of traction in saying this is a stupid idea, she blows the floor beneath them, and the animation of that floor just like was probably that little bit there was I wouldn't be uncomfortable saying it was the best bit of animation in the whole thing. That's not to say the rest of the animation was bad, because the whole thing is top tier. But
see, I
that
think
scene was just for me.
It's funny you should say that, because don't get me wrong, we'll get to it. I'm not going to drop it right now, but I honestly would go so far as to say I think I know my favorite scene in the entire 12 episode series, right down to the scene. I think I do know my absolute favorite. Yeah, I think I do. We'll get to it when we discuss the particular character relevant to it. But as you say, it is, and I just want to say as well with Monkey, when you're speaking about, obviously she starts talking about the whole pacifist approach, because obviously as you go through the episodes, you get all the backstory from him. You learn that Monkey is a pacifist. She's renowned worldwide for literally, I can't remember the exact numbers, but she has literally, I believe she's ended 300 international wars and 200 civil wars. Yeah, she's brought to the end, and you start to learn just how fucking gnarly she is, because going back to what Dreads was saying before, about obviously when she starts getting wind, she literally admits that she could feel the palpable urge to kill from somebody, and that's why she did it. Literally, she knew that somebody was about to strike at that moment. She could feel
somebody was raising their key levels.
I could feel the too right. And she was like, denied. No, please continue.
No, I was gonna say I was gonna ask you, like, what was the like your first standout moment in it? Like, obviously it's easy to recall the most standout, but for me that was like the moment I realized this is a decent anime, and I'm glad for the recommendation. That was
see, it's funny really, because when I first started watching it, the moment I knew I was gonna love it was Rabbit.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Because the moment Boar arrives, because of course when it starts, it is from Boar's perspective. She's the last one to arrive, and as she says, the boar must always arrive fashionably late. Now she arrives last, and the second you go, someone's already down. Right? The second you get there, Snake's already lost his head.
Poor Snake. Poor Snake.
He's already gone. And she walks in.
It's Rabbit's response to her.
It's Rabbit.
Looks at Rabbit, and Rabbit's just like, you can't blame me. You don't know it was me. Pointing his blood-soaked machete at her. While standing above the Snake.
Just accuse me.
And I might add that Snake and Dragon are twin brothers. They are not two separate entities. They work together as a team. They're two brothers, twins. One who uses fire normally.
In this at all, because before you've even met him, he's been killed.
Literally. Of course, you still get all the backstory, and it's such a shame as well, because you learn to love the character long after he's dead.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing actually, because I might forget this. What the fuck is it up with it? I don't know. Was it Dragon, the ice one?
Yeah, yes. Dragon was the ice one.
Why could he fly?
Because
he's a dragon.
But come on, like it was
his special power, flying.
This anime is one just for not following the usual tropes, but just to randomly see him midway through the whole thing flying. He's like not explained it. Nobody's batted an eyelid when they've noticed him. They're just like, Rabbit's like, let's go jump.
I'm actually quite surprised. Yeah, I mean, I'm actually quite surprised that you've brought up the non-explanation of dragons flying, and you've not even tickled on Rabbit's necromancing ability.
I'm gonna say
the fact that there is no explanation behind it. The fact that even when corpses are cut into pieces, he can still control them.
I'm going to tell you exactly why that isn't as shocking for me. as him flying because Rabbit has black eyes with red irises. You can do whatever.
For fuck's sake.
You've got black eye. If the whites of your eye are black, you've got some bright, scary color as like the main color of your eye. You get away with doing whatever the fuck you want because you're clearly fucked up.
On that premise, then Dragon can fly because he's got fucking snake eyes.
I just wasn't expecting. I mean, it's the sort of characters, though, isn't it? It is a sort of character. Look, Rabbit is a sort of character where he's that oddball, isn't it? Like, he's,
so
insane. I mean, we'll get into obviously. I'm not cutting it short, of course, but we will get into each character just so you listeners have got some context. We will try to obviously go through and talk about each character individually and the series. And we will explain why Rabbit catches your eye immediately. It ain't because of his eyes. But Clockwork. Please, your moment, man. Like I was saying before, obviously, that guy was saying about the clinching. It was the flaw. What was your clinching moment?
Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was thinking about this just before you answered it, PT, and I was thinking the exact same moment, almost word for word, what you said. So, Rabbit.
Yeah, with Rabbit and the whole you can't blame me.
Rabbit won that.
Yeah. It was MVP all day long.
It was a moment. Like, it's so much charisma in it and character from him in that moment
just
as well.
Look at that immediate creep factor. Like you feel so uncomfortable around him, and he's the kind of character where even before you know what he's capable of, he makes you uncomfortable.
You do not want to be in a room with Rabbit.
And that says a lot for an anime character.
Yeah, it's another tropey character set though, isn't it? Like, he's the character that probably licks the blood off his blade, has a really long pointed tongue. Is it probably a little bit molesty? Some of the characters can be that. What's the guy that does the gum power in Hunter x Hunter?
I don't know his name, but the clown.
He's like that. All he wants to do is take flipping Gone Home, I think that's his name, and just like do weird. Rabbit is clearly one of those unsettling characters. Straight away.
Rabbit just wants friends. All right. He says repeatedly, he just wants friends. Yeah. They may have to be dead though.
It is creepy as hell when he killed Boar, innit?
And even while he's chilling, like something again. We will go more into detail with this after we've spoken about Rat. But you hear later on that Rabbit's wish is to be friends with everybody in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And for Rabbit to make friends, what he means by that is not to actually be friends with them, it's to kill them and make them a zombie that he can control. Because because someone actually says to him, I believe it's Boar at the beginning, says to him, the realization, oh shit, you're a necromancer. And he's like, no, necromantist. And he's like, correct, sir. He's a necromantist, not a necromancer. Get it right.
On top of that, he's a grammar Nazi. Great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So basically, as we've basically spoken about, each of them has an ability in its own right. So each of them has something that they can do and only they can do. It's like a special ability of their particular Zodiac side.
On that point, how does that relate to a rabbit? I mean, the boar is the doesn't need to reload. She's greedy. She's forever going. Boars are greedy. The rat killing all. It kills things without contact. You could stretch it and it spread disease or whatever. Very calculated. Most of the other other combatants, if you want to call them that, sort of had some sort of relation to the animal they represented. Apart from the rabbit, I feel. Where does necromancy come in with a rabbit?
I do know where you're coming from. I definitely do. I mean, don't be wrong. Like you could say that point about quite a lot because
that monkey as well.
That guy is referencing is each of the warriors have an introduction. So all of them, whenever they're going to fight each other, they will always say the same thing. They will always say, obviously, of course, in the Japanese, but they will say warrior of the, whatever. So it'd be like,
Warrior of the Rabbit killing psychopathically, wasn't it?
Psychotically, yeah. So you've got, for instance, like Ox is killing systematically, Tiger is killing in a drunken rage. I believe both Snake and Dragon are killing for money. Like, they all have a killing for
peacefully.
something. Yeah, Monkey's killing peacefully.
Because once I tweaked onto that theme of it, I was like, okay, I get this now.
Yeah.
Like, killing all, I'm like, yo, rats spread plagues that kill all. That's cool. But
they don't
peacefully,
always. Tigers don't get pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I mean. Yeah,
Tigers don't get pissed off.
Yeah, I get it.
I think it's more of
is killing silently.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what it doesn't match up there as well. Yeah.
I do not think for a second, personally, this is my personal opinion here, guys. This is not me saying this is what it is. This is my opinion. I personally believe that each of those ways of killing, if you will, that each of them go through, I believe that is to represent them as an individual. Because
it's more of a personal preference of how
I do believe so, because Ox, for instance, is a beast, an absolute fucking beast. He's like the favored to win pretty much like all the way through, and his is killing systematically. He's the genius of slaughter.
The genius of slaughter.
Natural born slayer or something, I think they call him in the dub.
Like, you watched the dub?
Yes.
Of course you watched the dub.
I have to do other things at the same time.
I promise you, it's the genius of slaughter.
That's so much
in the Japanese.
Let's go with what it actually is, as opposed to what it's been badly translated to. But it's the genius of slaughter, and his is killing systematically. And when you have seen, you get to see a scene where you see Ox just annihilate like a squad of people, and he does so systematically.
It's in the flashback as well, the flashback thing, isn't it?
Yeah, between him and Tiger, And this is something that's what you learn.
History, haven't they? Isn't it? They're the Tiger and the Ox.
That's what you learn. That basically Tiger has. She never admits it, and you never get to hear her say it, even in her own thoughts. But you know that Tiger loves Ox.
Do you know what? Yeah,
she was pushing hard on her.
Ox saved her.
I remember thinking this at the time of watching it for the first time. And it just brought it back now. I know who my least favorite character is. It is Tiger, which is a shame because when she went up against Sheep, that wasn't bad. Like, just got started and bang, straight at it. I'm like, this can only get better from here, right? But then she turns into a fucking Sakura for Ox. Yeah, she does. I just wanted to your acknowledgement. And no, go back to killing sheep, man.
The thing is, I absolutely do get where you're coming from. Like, I honestly do get where you're coming from. But I think the difference for me, and the reason that I do still love Tiger, is it's totally different for me in the sense of Ox literally saved Tiger from the brink of self-destruction.
Yeah, it was deep. It was deep.
By turning round and how she literally says, "How do you do it?" And he's like, "In 2 steps. I think about doing it, and then I do it." I absolutely love it.
I remember watching that, and I'm like, it's so like Goku-esque.
I know. I think about it, and then I do.
Just do it, like bang,
I'm not fucking around. Do you know what I mean? I think about doing it, and then I'm doing it.
To be fair, that exact moment you're talking about made up for the back end of that whole flashback scene where I'm like, this feels, compared to the rest of the anime, that bit there felt like it's just too much. Sort of. By that point, you want more setup. Like you get a little bit of setup, and then the character's taken away from you.
Yeah.
At this one, I'm like, it's just dragging now. For some reason, even if they might have not been as long as I think it felt, but watching that bit felt like the slowest moving bit of the whole thing. But that might be down to my personal preferences and what I want from an anime, really.
Yeah. I understand. Like, I understand when you're on like a 12 episode time limit, as it were.
Yeah.
You want to try and squeeze as much action in as you can. But I mean, so I can see that some people would probably say that they'd want the fights to go on for longer, and I would understand that because no fight is particularly lengthy. But at the same time, you're talking about 12 of the greatest warriors on Earth, supposedly coming together to fight. And it's like some are going to be smarter than others because some, I'm going to say it right now, some go down like a bitch.
What are you saying? Doggy, what are you saying, Doggy?
Dog gets annihilated. And the thing is I genuinely like Dog as a character to start with. He goes down. I don't think any more of it. Then it feels the need to rub in my face just how awesome a character Dog actually was after he's dead. Again.
Yeah.
Yet again, all because of Ra.
Dog's death pissed me off so much.
It's because of Ra. He literally makes you like warm toward every single character individually because of the question he asks each one. But sorry, that guy. Go on. What were you going to say there?
No, I was going to say, like, without Dog's death, I wouldn't have rated the chicken at all.
I know.
Yes, same, actually.
It's like the way it's not even the fact that she planned to get the venom and like.
I was going to say, tell him what happened.
So Dog's ability is he bites you and he can inject you with some venom in his bite that supercharges you basically.
Called the one-man army.
That was it, one-man army, yeah. And like Chicken knows this, so decides to pseudo pair up with him. In the hopes that he bites her to give her this power up so he can use her as meat shield.
He's the only one, isn't he, that she knows about. He's the only Dog is the only character that Chicken has any knowledge about.
Because you learn afterwards as well, don't you, where she explains that, and I'm like, this woman is completely different to what I was expecting when he bumped into her in that flipping car park. So she takes the power up and then just crushes his face.
Yeah.
And then what was the comment she made about his face later as well? Like, will they even recognize him?
Like, as long as he's got fangs, it doesn't matter. They'll know who it is.
Yeah. She literally, we're talking, she leans in, grabs him by the face and just crushes his skull in her hand.
Yeah. With like that innocent look on her face as well. No malice or anything. It's so deep.
Proper creepy, like, sorry about that.
The best thing about it was I sent you guys a message. So the characters were introduced and I was just like, where they met in that car park where Dog's hiding out, trying to just, make plans for what he's going to do for the tournament or the Battle Royale. Chicken turns up. And I'm like, there's no way that character's in something like this, like that. She must be one of those sort of gonna F you up when you least expect it characters. So I even messaged you guys in the group chat. I'm like, I guess that this chicken's a monster then in reality. You guys didn't reply. And then I was like, yes, she is then. You know what I mean? Absolutely. But then again, I got some sort of shock vibes from each of the characters. All of them, at one point or another, like shocked me. Even Horse's death. I'm like, wow, that was so unexpected. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, he's a character who obviously has like so much confidence. I mean, Horse, like obviously as we bring characters up, we'll try and go into them and give you a little bit about them. So we'll try and like tell you. So Horse, his ability is the Iron Defense. So he can basically withstand just ridiculous amounts of hammering, like to the point where he literally fights off Orcs, which is unfucking doable, essentially, for anybody else.
Which is even like you're the only person that's ever managed to do that.
I was going to say, I think he even comments. Yeah, I believe he even comments on the fact that Horse does this. And because of this, because he knows how gnarly Ox is, and he only gets away from him by running away. So Horse literally runs away. Bearing in mind that when you see Horse, he's a fucking huge bastard. Like, built like a brick shit ass. He's the biggest, he's the biggest like zangy fucking motherfucker. He was like body-wise.
It was a weedy guy, and
he was
then
in the military.
He was military.
And for some reason or another in the military, he kept going through all these experiments to make him like a soldier in it.
Straight away why I say the whole killing silently comes in, because in his backstory you see him with the knife going in, jungle commando, stabbing motherfuckers up.
Schwarzenegger looking type.
Proper predator in the jungle.
This is what I said earlier. Forgetting Boar, and no, actually the most forgettable is Horse, and there you go, that backs it up because I even forgot his backstory.
There you go. Sorry, Clockwork, you were going to say something.
I was just about to go into Horse's backstory, but it's fine.
Yeah, do it.
No man, do it.
It was his unit got jumped, didn't they, while they were out on patrol? So he went out and just murdered all of them that jumped his unit, except for the last one who put a machete through both of his arms and dropped him down a waterfall or something.
Yeah.
And that was the point where he started getting like a stupid amount of experiments, working out. I think he said he made his muscles so that they were like a suit of armor around him.
Yeah, like
it was if I remember correctly. It's not what he intended at all.
No, it was like any experimental hush super soldier shit he could get on board with, he was on it. Any experiments that could be done on him, to the point where he was lifting tons of weight. At one point, he's sat inside like an oven, his skin crackling and boiling just so he can prevent himself from like fire fucking him up.
Yeah.
Like, he goes through
Fully went in.
everything
In for the powers, mate.
to
In for the powers.
literally be reduced to a whimpering mess who ends up hiding in a fucking bank vault and only dies because Rat gets him killed.
Yeah, like Rat tried to give him the heads up, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
Rat told him out, to be fair.
Rat led Snake to the bank vault where Horse was hiding out. He goes in because he can squeeze through gaps. That wasn't really explained, but anyway.
No, he just appears, doesn't he?
It's because he wasn't really there.
Was he not?
That's why he appears and disappears, mate, because at the moment he appears, he's testing out one of the paths. We'll get into this, listeners. We'll get into this.
Oh, shit.
Did you two not click onto this?
More sense now.
No.
He pops in because that's when he starts one of his paths, and then when he disappears is because he's
Okay.
locked in a different fucking path.
Right. Okay, that clears so much up now because I'm like, I do recall at times I'm like, wait a second, when did he leave? What's his name that he was hanging out with?
That's why he just
He's
appears.
just there,
Oh
right,
my God.
okay. But yeah, Rat turns up in his
Oh
mind,
my
like,
God.
gives him the heads up on like maybe Snake's gonna come and get you, bro. And he's like, nah, I'll be calling the safe, and then just gets cooked as Snake sets the
Like,
place on
he
fire
got
with his flamethrower.
suffocated, didn't he? He was like, I can take the heat, but I'm about to run out of fucking oxygen.
He thought he was having a panic attack, and then he was like, oh, actually, no, I can't breathe. There's no air here. It's
Starts trying to batter his way out, doesn't he? Yeah.
such a bitch.
Like
Yeah.
Clockwork said, he was like, the fire, no problem, but I'm literally running out of oxygen, and he literally just chokes to death.
Yeah, such a...
So underwhelming.
I do want to stress, though, I say it with such gusto because I'm fucking 100% adamant, absolutely adamant that's the case, but it's not actually proven, and that is my theory about Rat, but I am fucking
makes so
staying
much sense,
true
though.
to it.
Mate, that's so sick. If it is, it's sick.
It makes so much sense.
It's sick. Please, as far as I'm concerned, that's now
It has to be.
Yeah,
it has to be.
that's
It
it.
has to be, man. There's no other explanation for it. It
Yeah.
has to be when he pops into a path and then he disappears when he's like, I'm done with that one.
Yeah,
Rat is such a head fuck because like this is another thing now. Like me and Tom were having a discussion earlier today, and it turns out that we've got two different interpretations of his power. We've had to call PT in as the
moderator.
Yeah, we were talking about this. Yeah,
yeah. It's such a mess. We'll get to Rat later.
we will. We keep on teasing him, but we will get to it.
We're like the anime now, aren't we? We keep teasing Rat, but never explain him.
This is exactly it. The way we're doing it is literally what the anime does. Rat is the last person you find out about.
Right, we'll talk about Tiger for now. We'll quickly go over Tiger unless anybody has anything extra to say, like her abilities.
I mean,
just give a drunken fist. I don't know. She fights in a
she's
drunken. She kills in a drunken rage.
Before we do, I just
sorry.
want to very quickly just finish off anybody we have already mentioned, because there's a couple of people we have mentioned, but there's a couple of points we haven't finished off about them, and then we can cross them off the list. So going back to Boar, we spoke about Boar earlier. I know that guy briefly mentioned it, obviously in talking about it. But Boar's ability is non-reload. She has 2 fucking PKM LMGs, and she never needs to reload them. So she's basically just got infinite ammo in 2 fucking LMGs. Gnarly. Obviously, we spoke about Dog. Not only can he bite people and give them the one-man army, and himself, he can also bite people, which horribly poisons them, which makes like blood flow out their eyes, their ears, you name it. He also cure poisons.
Yes, he was on his way to. He said he was going to get an antidote or something.
Before he even swallowed the jewel, he activated the anti-poison in his body to start working on an antidote while it's in his system.
Yeah.
That's why he was hiding out in the car park.
Yeah, he was contemplating, just waiting, wasn't he?
And obviously he was in the car park because he just dropped out of a vent upon escaping the explosion. He was about to figure out what he was going to do when Chicken turns up, which leads me on to Chicken. So Chicken, of course, yes, she had the one-man army and she crushed Dog's fucking head in her hand, but her ability, I can't remember the actual proper term for it. There is actually a term for it.
It's Eye of the Cormorant?
Eye of the Cormorant, that's the one.
Cormorant.
Thank you very much, Clockwork. Yeah, Eye of the Cormorant, where she can basically see through birds. She can use birds to, she can use birds as her eyes in the sky.
I completely forgot what her power was. Yeah, she
can control them. Yeah, she can control any fly like any bird at all, and she can literally like summon swarms to like 1,000 crows can come down and fucking piranha you to bone. Do you know what I mean? Like she could rinse you with that for sure. I think we have spoken obviously briefly about Monkey.
I think we leave Monkey a bit though.
There's definitely more to her. We will definitely go into more to her. The ability, however, you only really get one little cheeky scene of her ability. And while she's been trained by fucking monkeys, I might add, right?
Yeah.
While she's having training from 3 monkey masters who speak perfectly, right?
Yeah.
But she has the ability to transmute materials. So, for instance, she can seemingly chop a boulder in half, but she just runs a line of sand down that boulder to make it look like she's cut it in half. It's pretty incredible.
And you had a problem with Dragon flying, that guy.
I know, right?
Like, you had a problem with Dragon being able to fly, and Monkey can do that.
I mean, like, stuff empties my head like you don't believe. I couldn't actually recall because there was no scene where she actually used it. I didn't actually recall what her like ability was. Like, I remember the scene where the monkeys are on the flipping the stone pillars and it's looking all feeling.
Sorry, I'm with you with Monkey. So I wasn't sure which character you're referencing there. Yeah, Monkey. Unfortunately, no, you don't. You don't.
No, you don't really get to see it. I thought, obviously, she whips out the flipping palms. Like,
oh yeah, she whips out the fucking. Absolutely.
She was full match, doesn't she?
The Hyuga style. I was about to say, she whips out the Hyuga style taijutsu, doesn't she? But...
yeah. And boy, it was good. I enjoyed seeing her take on those birds, like just surrounded by birds, but she's just got like, they're just take, not even with the spin. What is Neji's spin called again? She doesn't
Rotation.
Even need that. Yeah, what's the spin called? Rotation, obviously. Sorry. But yeah, she's just going at it, mate. And the animation on it was sick. I do love to see that sort of that hand-to-hand combat-y sort of with more exotic type of martial arts animated well, and it was done so well in this.
Absolutely. And I mean, this far into the podcast, I really do want to stipulate how incredible the animation is in this anime series, and how well it's only little tickles. For those of you who aren't a fan of what I'm about to mention here, do not fear, it's only a tickle and it's done beautifully when they put a little bit of CGI in. Just a little bit, but it is done very well. So
very respectfully.
Just like Kimetsu no Yaiba, there's no Demon Slayer, sorry for those who who need it to be Demon Slayer, but there's such a beautiful, how can I put it, a beautiful transition like in and out of it. That it's just, it really isn't offensive to the eyes.
With the animation rather than takes over.
Absolutely. It's used where it's needed, not because. Absolutely. But please, let's continue. We've covered those characters there. I just wanted to make sure we got those characters down, just to cover, like, what they do, this, that, and the other. One character we have not spoken about, but we have mentioned, but we have not spoken about. Sheep.
Sheep. So good.
Good old Sheep.
He won the last one. Yeah, cool. But, like, he was just an old guy that spent too much time strategizing, and then as soon as it was time for him to apply his strategy, he died. Because of his own, I mean, you're supposed to have experience, right? And you get taken out the second. So he bumps into Tiger that's drunk on a bench because, drunken killing in a drunken rage, and they have this weird sort of back and forth as if to say like they're not trying to kill each other, like it's a respectful warriors sort of thing before the fight, and then they have the fight, they do the introductions and whatnot, and then the fight starts, but Tiger just dashes at him, kills him straight away.
Well, the thing that it doesn't even really start. Like, I mean, the fight doesn't even really start because obviously,
just takes him down.
To start with, Sheep sees Tiger from quite a distance on a bench. He's thinking away to himself, and she just turns around. She's like, "Come on, old man, come out."
Stop perving on me.
Like the master. If you can't even be undetectable, what use are you as the guy with the most experience there?
Just like you say, Clockwork. Yeah, she's just like, "Hey, stop perving from afar."
He literally spent.
You'll get a view from down here or something like that.
He literally spent 10 minutes ripping on Tiger.
I was just about to say,
he literally spent 10 minutes tearing her down, saying she's the worst person there.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He literally puts her at the bottom.
I'm sorry, but you just annoy me. because of that. I'm not saying you're not a badass. I'm not saying that you don't deserve props, right? Yeah, you just took Sheep out, like, but I mean, it was Sheep at the end of the day, so that's not as impressive as you know what I mean, as it could have been the other characters. But you was there for Ox, apparently, and that bugged me. Like, when you see her backstory as well, she was sent away from her clan, shall we call them that?
The family.
The family,
yeah.
Was she adopted in or something like that?
No, she was part of the proper family. Her parents owned the dojo that she trained at.
Right.
And obviously she was literally like the master of the dojo. I mean, it's the Ara style. I mean, they do the Ara style 100-man sparring.
Yeah.
Where Tiger literally decks 100 man.
Yes. Yeah.
And ends up being a beast, and then upon that, she basically gets chosen as, like, you know, Tiger, the representative of the clan, gets sent off to the battlefield, as all these warriors do, and it takes a fucking heavy toll. She was not ready.
Yeah, that was
it broke her, didn't it?
She was not ready, and it just creates a seriously dark hole, and she basically turns to drink. And then as she starts drinking, she starts caring less. She starts loving the bloodshed and all this, that, and the other. And she loses her fucking mind to the point where she almost becomes more... She's more beast now than man.
Yeah, you know what I mean? She's just aimlessly wandering around, just killing people she comes across, isn't it?
And she even says that she can barely even like distinguish friend from foe anymore. She doesn't know, like, you know, like what's what. She just fucking...
This is where it gets to annoy me. So she's wandering somewhere for some reason. You get to know this in... Which flashback is it? Is it in Ox's flashback or is it in Tiger's
flashback?
Yeah. So she's wandering, and she's about to be taken out by some army somewhere, wherever she is. Ox turns up, just takes them all out. Nice. And at that point, you know, she falls for Ox. You know, he saves her. And then she finds out or assumes that Ox is going to be in the tournament. So she goes back to her family who have, like, disowned her because of her drunken ways. And it's like, oh, let me like do the Taisen tournament, please. I'm sorry, I've changed my ways. I want to do it. But it's all just to be acknowledged by...
Well, I mean, originally she's like, fuck that, isn't she? Her sister comes to visit her and says, will you come back? And she's like, behave yourself. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And it's at that point that she thinks, oh shit, actually, Ox might be there being a what? Now, you know what? I will. Yeah, and that's obviously when it leads on to, the reason she goes is to basically, you know, be acknowledged by Ox. Yeah.
The killer, for me, doesn't matter what badass shit you can do, right? The fact that scene where she walks in and she got pissed off because Ox didn't acknowledge her when she walked in. Like, he doesn't remember me. I'm like, you don't even know he doesn't remember you. He knows why he's there. So whether or not he remembers you is irrelevant, because why would he want to buddy up with you when he's trying to take you out? Come on, woman. Take your logic and get out of here with it, because it's stupid.
I have got to say, I did love the little addition to, like, when Tiger has gone down, and Ox is sort of having his little inner monologue moment. I love the fact that he actually says, like, because he basically references the fact that he never gets sentimental about, obviously, anybody, you know, he never gets sentimental after killing someone. Do you know what I mean? And obviously he talks about how he's getting sentimental. He would have raised a glass to her as a warrior. If he drank, he's like, I don't drink, but I'd have risen a glass to you. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. And it's because she reminded him of the girl he saved all that time, which was, of course, her. He didn't put two and two together, which I'm completely with you there, that guy. I agreed. It's like, well, of course he didn't recognise you. You're dressed in a Tarty Tiger outfit. You've got your fucking gear on. You're not in the middle of a fucking random country about to be shot.
I mean, give the guy a chance. You don't count.
You know what I mean? Good God, there's a lot of people in the world, Tiger. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, fucking hell. It's not all about you. But, you know.
But I suppose that was the annoying character role. In most animes, there needs to be that annoying character role filled, doesn't it, really? There tends to be one, a character that you love to hate.
There is always one.
She's going to be that one for me because of that. That's why she has to rank the bottom, because everybody else is just so cold and so badass. No, sorry, Horse is worse. She's second worst. Horse is worse because...
I would say Horse is worse.
Horse is definitely my least favourite.
Yeah, Horse.
Not because of his backstory, his character design, his ability, nothing. It's because a man of that caliber should not have bitched out in a fucking vault.
Literally immediately as well.
even if you are a coward, right? You've gone up against Ox and you're alive, right? That alone will give me enough confidence to think I can take on any of them. I can stay alive against Ox. I can at least take out some of these other bitches, right?
Yeah.
Because throughout the whole thing, everyone's like, Ox is the one, Ox is the one, Ox, genius of slaughter. Nobody wants to go up against Ox, and then you go up against him and survive. Come on, bro.
The problem is, that is exactly the problem, though. That's exactly the problem he faces. He even says, and this is why he ends up like obviously going and hiding, because he's gone up against Ox. He's realised how horrendous he is, even though he could defend against him. The only reason he lived is because he ran off. And he basically has that realization, or has that sort of like breakdown of, no matter what I do, he's going to kill me.
Yeah, I suppose.
And he just loses his mind over the fact. He just loses his mind over the fact that he's like, Ox is going to kill me. Ox is going to kill me. Like, he doesn't care about anything else apart from the fact that he's going to fucking die.
He does not have a warrior's spirit. Therefore,
absolutely not.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's why he's at the very bottom for me.
He's the worst.
Just completely broken. He just, he gets completely broken. He does not even chicken.
Even chicken.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And the reason I say that, even though she's an awesome character, when you guys, the listeners, actually, if you guys check it out, or even if you just hit that Google Images up and you fucking Juni Taisen kicking it up in that image search, you're gonna see what I'm talking about. With them feathers covering the fanny, the skimpy outfit.
Her and Tiger went to the same salty shop.
Yeah.
They absolutely did. I mean, Tiger's even wearing that chain round the neck with a little tiger tail on the end of it. Character design is fantastic. I mean, I've got to talking about character design.
Do you know what? Right. Let's. I was going to say character design is probably a good thing that we're going to talk about with a certain character. Before we get onto that, wait. There's rabbit and there's rat left. Towards, I save them to the end.
Dragon and
Snake. Spoken. Dragon and Snake. So let's do Dragon and Snake.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's do Dragon and Snake. So they've got an interesting character design anyway, because they're both obviously the twins. They've got a similar get up. One uses fire, one uses ice. What is that? Like, you got a flamethrower. What is that? Like an ice thrower?
It's an ice thrower, isn't it? Like, it's a refroster.
Essentially, yeah. It's literally a tank full of like liquid nitrogen. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's a tank full of liquid nitrogen. So as soon as you fire it like a flamethrower, whatever it touches, it freezes immediately.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So they literally like have fire and ice essentially.
So you don't really get to experience much of Snake because he's taken out before you've even come across.
I mean, you do.
You do though. You did it quite a lot.
Yeah, come across Snake, but when he's in his what would you call it? His necromance form?
His corpse form.
Yeah, he's a corpse.
I was gonna say he's not headless though, is he? His head's not on his body, but it's still very functional. Like,
oh, he is headless though. He is headless. I was gonna say his body works, but he ain't got no fucking head.
Rabbit uses him as a security camera.
Yeah. Don't you worry. I'm gonna get to that. Like, that is literally like, we're leading into my favorite scene there. We're leading into me talking about my favorite scene with that.
Yes. Oh yeah. I think I know what you mean, and that is a good scene.
The throwing and the jumping and the moon and oh my god, we're gonna get there. But just hyping you up. You're hyping you up.
Yes. Anything that's jumping in front of a moon. Anyway. Yeah, so you don't really get to see how they work together then, which I would have thought, if they're being twins and coming in together with a backstory, they came into it together, fully understanding that only one of them could come out alive if they were to do it. But they weren't really overly phased by that, were they?
I think to be honest, I mean, you see plenty of them working together in the backstory and whatnot. When you get obviously all the background and stuff, you see them together like all the time. And the fact that they're just obsessed with money and they just rob and steal and they sort of like, they do a lot of robbing and giving to the poor. Which seems great, but there's always horrendous consequences after the fact, which Dragon literally stipulates in a courtroom in his own inner monologue. Every single time every single time they did something good, something bad happened as a result of it. Every single time. Like for instance, like when they're flying over a place, chucking money out to all the citizens. The local gang leader went round and like shot them all and took all the money for himself. That kind of shit. Something bad always happened after the fact. But I think when you see them talking about it, I really do, even though they don't outright verbally stipulate that they are bothered by the fact, I think they really are bothered by the fact, because when you see how they're talking about it and their body language toward it and how they're just sort of, it is what it is, but I think deep down it does bug them. They're twins at the end of the day. They're twin brothers. You know what I mean? No, I am not a twin. but I'm pretty sure a twin would tell me that they would give a shit if their twin died.
Yeah, I mean, one of them, they seem to be slightly different personalities.
Oh yeah, Snake's very like
so.
nonchalant, doesn't give a fuck. He
Yeah.
loves the destruction, whereas Dragon's a lot more clear-headed.
Yeah.
He's the kind of more sensible of the two. Let's put it that way.
He's the wise, older version. Which
I mean, we're
sort
talking
of
about
makes
when
sense.
it comes to Snake, we're talking about a guy who breaks into a warehouse just to steal a lizard because he wants it.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which ends up then dying, and he ends up cooking it and eating it.
I
And
forgot
that's when you
about that
find out that
lizard.
he has a fucking reptile blog.
He's got a reptile, but people follow him. For his
He's got
reptile.
loads of followers on his reptile enthusiast blog, but he doesn't want to tell them that he's eaten his
Killed,
lizard in
yeah.
memorial because he'd freak his followers out.
Yeah, nutters, mate. It's those little nuances, those little injections of character that just
Incredible,
make
man.
this brilliant. You know what I mean? And it's not even a highlight. It's not even like a highlighted moment when that sort of thing is pointed out. It's just a thing that just moves on by. You're like, wait a second, did anybody else catch that weird thing about the followers and the blog? Like,
Yeah, the fact he's actually got a blog.
you know what I mean?
Phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
So good.
But yeah. So for us, they both get taken out by Rabbit, don't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they both do.
Yeah.
And Dragon getting taken out by Rabbit is my favourite scene. It's my favourite scene in the entire thing.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
what we're leading on to. We're talking, I mean, for starters, obviously, at the beginning, Snake gets killed. He gets his head chopped off. Now, with Rabbit's ability, his necromantist ability, he can obviously reanimate anybody that he personally kills. He has to kill them. He has to be the one to kill them. This is why, leading back, Monkey holds Ox down but doesn't kill him because Rabbit has to do it.
Yep.
If Rabbit doesn't kill them, they don't become a
He's out of
zombie.
control.
Right?
He's not going to become one of his friends.
Exactly. But any body part removed from that corpse can act independently. So, Snake's head, you find out later, this is how Monkey goes down. Because Monkey's killing it, if you recall.
Yeah.
She's smashing it. And then it turns out that the one blind spot that Rabbit has, it turns out Snake's head is just perched in a tree watching the whole thing.
And it just gives him the heads up.
And he can see through
Oh,
those
so
eyes.
good.
And he can see through all, like, any of his corpse's eyes. He's literally like, Rabbit is like a hive mind of his own.
It's like his pain. It's got the really going. Like,
Yeah.
he just-
He's like the six paths. Yeah, it really is. Like six paths of pain. He can see through all of them at once. He can do all that shit. And essentially, with the premise that he has his head, Rabbit needs a bird's eye view. So when he takes down Dragon, who at this point, I might add, is fucking hundreds of feet up into the air above the city, just floating, arms folded, just taking it in.
unexplained, but yes.
Planning
Leave Dragon alone.
planning his strategy, and you see, first of all, Monkey's corpse launch Snake's head into. We're talking like sonic boom levels of fucking.
Yeah. It's one of the things where, like, you almost felt the air pressure
Oh yeah.
watching it on the screen.
My
Like,
soundbar made sure I did feel it, right?
Yeah.
And that fucking boom, that literally like a sonic boom as this head gets thrown up into the sky. And then you see the point of view of the head. So you see the head scanning across the city, taking everything in, so Rabbit knows where everyone is. And then obviously it keeps flitting between this happening and Dragon floating in the sky. And then obviously Dragon sees something coming and he's like, what the fuck? And it like zooms past him, he dodges it, he's like, what the fuck was that? While this is happening, Monkey gives Rabbit a little boost.
a little.
A little sonic boom boost of her own, right? And launches that cunt into the sky. Now, you obviously just see the launch. You see the head fly past. Dragon's looking up like, what the fuck was that? Catches his brother's head in his hands. And while he's looking at it, he's like, what the fuck? Rabbit appears next to him, hundreds of feet in the air after this, and he's like, didn't you know, Dragon cunt? Rabbits can jump as high as the moon.
Bars, mate.
Bang! Fucking double machete straight through the torso, cuts him clean in half, and just fucking flies back down. That bit right there was probably my favourite moment in the
was beautiful.
entire
Yeah, it's amazing.
series. That moment, and just how if I knew it in Japanese, I really would bust it. Just how Rabbit says in that creepy voice he's got. I don't know about the dubs, but in the subs, when he jumps up and he's like, Dragon Q. You know, he's got that horrible, creepy voice, and he just fucking cleaves him in twain. Oh my god, it was so good. Like, just Rabbit is unstoppable.
It's nuts, isn't it? Because like it's clearly excels combat power. Because the guy was mad strong and slaying people in order to control him. But then he's got that extra, like his ability is clearly the best ability out of all of it. Well, I suppose there's Rat's ability.
Which we'll get to.
Yeah, but ability tier. That's a top tier, mate. He's OP to fuck.
To finish off this creep factor, I'm gonna quickly go through it so our listeners have an idea. So Rabbit.
Describe Rabbit.
He basically has sort of like almost like Kizame teeth, so like almost like shark teeth. He's got spiky teeth. He has like sort of white, not afro hair, but it's like bobbed hair. He's got like a white bob of hair. He is ripped to fuck. Like I'm talking, he's not ripped like horse. He's not huge, but he is so fucking ripped with the thickest fucking legs I've seen.
His thighs are ridiculous.
They are.
Chun-Li's legs look like twigs. I'm telling
you.
Mate, there has never been. If you imagine the polar opposite to skipping leg day, Rabbit, right?
Every day is leg day to Rabbit.
And he's like pale white. He's like super pale white, ripped to fuck. He wears a collar with a bow tie, suspenders onto basically hot pants, a giant fucking bobble bunny tail, and high heels.
Really.
High heels. He does all this in high heels. Right?
Yeah, he is the creep factor.
Oh yeah, he does all of it. And of course, he has 2 machetes. Or should I say, they're more like kukri, actually. They're actually like 2 kukri.
They are.
They're not machetes. He's got 2 kukri. And rabbit ears, of course. He wears rabbit ears as well.
The obvious thing is rabbit ears.
He's got the massive fuck-off tail.
I remember the giant bobtail.
The tail.
And he really is a interesting looking character. He's a fucking... And again, the second you see him, when he's accusing Bo, you take one look at him, and this is like going back to what we were saying earlier about that's what clenched it for me personally. Not only like how he acts and what he says, but it's that description when you look at him. Who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
With, of course, as that guy said earlier, totally black eyes with the red iris.
Yeah. So when I see that, I'm like, it doesn't surprise me. He's got some undead thing. Like I wouldn't have been surprised to find out that he wasn't the actual contender. He was just one of the flipping dolls or something.
And I mean, to be literally a Nagato situation, like someone pulling the strings
was there
from.
Any backstory for him?
Nope, you don't get anything from Rabbit.
It broke my heart.
It broke my heart.
Figured out what the hell clan he came from, what family.
The whole time I was watching that series, I was like, I cannot wait. I am chomping at the bit. I am wet for Rabbit's episode, right? I cannot wait to learn about what wretched house he comes from.
Yeah.
Where he got these abilities, no, denied. Don't get your hopes up, right? Denied. You do not learn any of Rabbit's backstory. To be quite honest, by the time you finished it, you don't need it. Just appreciate him for what he is. And I mean, to say that you get a moment where, you know, we're talking about obviously team-ups and this, that, and the other. This, of course, expands. It jumps forward, yes, but it expands upon Rabbit and his abilities. We've said that obviously he can stab people up, he can kill them, he can take control of them, right? He can also take control of his own body. So if he gets fucked over, he can take control of his own body. So much so that at one point, Ox and Tiger team up because they realise that obviously Rabbit is a little too gnarly to go one-on-one with, especially when he's got all his corpsey mates around to help him out.
His corpsey mates.
Do you know what I mean? All his corpsey mates, they're all there to help out. So they're like, right, let's team up then. And they end up in what I might add is a fucking epic scene where they chop Rabbit into fucking bits.
Yes.
Like
Slice
they both
dice.
blitz him. Yeah, fully slice and dice. Like fully destroy him. And I think I actually truly forgot just how disturbing Rabbit becomes. Like, I truly forgot how rancid Rabbit becomes when, of course, they cut him into millions of pieces, and then they bail. They're like, Tiger's been injured. She blocks one of the kukri so that Ox doesn't go down. She gets stabbed. She's in a bad way. They bail. And obviously, this is what we were talking about earlier about how Tiger and Ox have, like, a really lovely moment between the two of them. She's like, look, don't let me die by him, otherwise I'll be one of his zombies. You kill me. I want you to do it, etc. And, of course, Rabbit eventually catches up. And you see Rabbit coming out of the shadows. And literally, he has put himself back together in the most horrific way. Like, we're talking half of his face is on his chest, one of his legs and his feet are his hand. Like,
Japanese horror style.
Yeah, he
so
is
creepy.
So gruesome.
Disturbing.
Like, absolutely gruesome. And he's looking all fucking bloated and wretched. And it's because Monkey has been traveling around inside that corpse.
Yeah. That in it.
Oh,
Yeah.
That is how Ox literally gets, like, pinned down. It's literally like how it ends up being his demise. He's about to fucking put Rabbit down once and for all, and Monkey just bursts out of this fucking chest and just pins him to the ground.
Yeah.
Which is obviously leads on to the winner being able to win.
Oi, this is where, like, we're gonna start gushing now, innit?
Yeah, very much so.
Oh yeah.
Rat, the winner of the Juni Taisen.
Of the 12th Juni Taisen, I might add. The 12th Juni Taisen winner is Nezumi. Rat.
Nezumi.
So, what happens then at the moment, Monkey is pinning down Ox, and Rabbit is still trying to, form himself back into a state where he can fight in. Rat approaches. He's got the bomb from Sheep. That
Wincon, wasn't it?
It was a bomb expert. You mentioned when he was talking about the previous one he was in. So he brought a bomb with him.
And do either of you remember the name of his coup de grace?
Was it One Final something or other?
It's the Old Timer.
The Old Timer, thank God.
The Old Timer. And can I just say, I don't know if either of you noticed this, and I'm not saying it's definitely a nod, but to me, it was a fucking nod, right? He refers to his bomb as art.
I don't remember that specifically.
I didn't catch that, so
if anybody's gonna catch that, it's flipping James.
Yeah, you're goddamn right. Anything data related, I'm bumming it. And the second he referred to it, because he's like, I'm sure he's like, I suppose you could refer to it as art, something like that. I was like, yes, you could. Losing my mind over that, but yes, and obviously Rat turns up with the Old Timer, which basically it's like Sheep's. It's not nuclear, it's not radioactive, but it's like Sheep's mini nuke.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It's fucking gnarly explosive.
He puts it down, and he walks away, and still able to get away. Like it's either it was a time skip of some kind from when he walked away to when we saw the explosion at a distance. Or
I think you just have to do the cool ass bail, and then the second he got out of the shot, he started running.
Yeah.
Well, actually saying that, talking about like after the fact with Rat, that's how basically Rat wins. He blows them all up. He's the last winner. The next scene you get is back with the hosts, and they want to do the interview with him. Which is when his power is explained. Somebody else explained his power because obviously I got it completely wrong.
I will, by all means, Clockwork. I will let you take the lead on this. I'll let you take the lead on this if you wish. The one thing I will say is all the way up to this point, the only thing you've seen plenty of Rat. I'm not saying that he's been elusive. You see Rat a lot, you do, but you don't really see him do anything because Rat literally wanders around, and that is exactly it. The main thing you see from Rat is he wanders about, he gives his opinions, he chats and stuff, but he is always knackered. Like, he is always so tired. Like, he's always either napping.
Nobody challenges him. He's just able to be there.
Snake's corpse does.
Oh yeah, but this is why I was adamant that like his power, he must be like infecting them with something, like a rat would with some sort of disease. But that is not his power at all. That's what I assumed before I learned what his power was. Then I learned what his power was and thought it was something which is completely different from what it is, which Tom will explain.
So Rat's Path, it's called the 100 Paths, isn't it?
It is the 100 Paths of Nezumi-san.
So he essentially has 100 different ways of going about any given situation that he has, and he's allowed to explore all of these options, and eventually he will choose one, and that is the one that
comes into fruition.
Yeah, that's the phrasing.
Locks in is what it is, isn't it?
Pretty much. Yeah, he locks in one of them, and that's it. That's what happens.
I'm gonna say, yeah, if you want to direct quote it, he does lock it in, and that's essentially it. I mean, yeah, as Clockwork says, he can literally do something 100 times over, and whichever one happens to be, if any of them, we're not saying that one of them always has to be, because he can still fail, but he has 100 ways to approach a situation, and whichever one is the most beneficial, he can lock it in and roll with it.
Mm-hmm. So it's a bit. I see. I took it as he, like I said earlier, he's got the power of premonition. He's able to sit there due to his mad ability, or for whatever reason, is able to predict very well, like come up with some potential strategies or potential outcomes to whatever situation he's facing, and then can just pick from any one of those 100 in a moment. And his ability is that good that he's always getting it right. But as you both corrected me on 2 occasions today, so I just like, no, I want my version to be right. As you explained, didn't it? I just thought, because that's how I am. I think it resonated with me, that power, really, if that was what it was. Because I was like, I sometimes do that, innit? I face a problem, I'm like, okay, these are all the potentials that I can muster. Which one is more likely? And I spend time thinking about that, but this guy's able to do all of that in an instant. That's a power, bro.
And it is an instant as well. Literally in an instant. But the one thing that we do have to stipulate is though because obviously he used this ability, of course, in the Juni Taisen. So out of 100 different paths, only one of them on this occasion resulted in him winning the Juni Taisen. Yeah. So obviously he went with it. Now, each path that Rat takes, he remembers all of it. He can see, smell, feel, taste all of it, including if he dies, he can remember the pain, the anguish, the misery of that death. 100 different deaths at once, or 99 if you will. Yeah. He can remember all of it.
Imagine how much a migraine can put some people out.
I know.
Imagine dying.
And he dies in some brutal ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
This is what got me about this is why I thought my version of his power was right as well. Because at the end, after the interview, at the start of the interview, he says he doesn't want to do it and tries to leave, but he dies. So he comes back to the interview and he says he doesn't want to do it again, tries a different thing, and he dies again and again and again. Now, in each portrayal of what happens to him after he refuses to do the interview, he is a little bitch. He doesn't even look like the same character. Those sort of sleek looking, sort of lazy eyes, he's lost all of that. He's running scared all the time, panting. There's a still beam above him on one of them and it drops and kills him. I'm like, listen, if you was meant to be some all-time good, why was you even carrying a sword, bruv? Why was you even carrying a sword? I get you was, but come on.
No, he uses it. He uses his sword.
When does he use his sword?
Against Snake.
Oh yeah, he did.
He used his sword.
Oh yeah.
Oh, of course, yeah, he flipping did.
He did.
I just didn't like that portrayal of him when at the end, where each time, up until that point, I was like, oh, this guy's. As soon as I saw him from the very beginning, I'm like, this is going to be my guy. Look at him, his style, everything about him. I love him. I don't even know what his name is. What he can do is he's been sitting on the floor asleep at this point at the start, and I love him already, right? And then that at the end, yeah, exactly.
He really is.
It's just sat there in a room of people that he knows they're eventually going to try and kill him, but he's asleep. I'm like, this guy, and he looks so young and feeble. This guy's going to be the one. But then at the end, when he's going through those 100 ways of saying no to the interview, each one, he looked like a little bitch. I just didn't like the portrayal of him.
Answer me this, though.
I thought that's why it was in his head, because maybe in his head, he's not as badass as what he is in reality. So that's what sort of cemented in its premonition rather than the ability to replay. If that makes sense.
I would say, in his defense, answer me this.
Yeah.
If you had just died 50 times, would you be stressed?
Yeah. But I mean, the guy dies.
The first time he leaves and he dies, he ain't like a little bitch then, is he? But you notice that each time he dies, he gets more desperate because every time he dies, he fucking feels it. He knows it, and it's horrendous.
And he's slowly running out of how many times he can do it as well. So obviously he can only do it 100 times. When he reaches 70...
So I really do think it's a combination.
Yeah, true. That's a good point.
And desperation.
Yeah.
I think the thing you see on his face is not necessarily. I mean, there'll be a modicum of fear, but I think it's more desperation. You see, because it's like I can't get out of this.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I buy that. That's
until obviously he realizes that all 100 paths of saying no to the interview will fail. He has to say yes.
Oh, actually, at a point as well, that's why he did the interview. When at one point mid-interview, he decides, do I try attack this guy or do I just answer the question?
Yeah.
And in the vision of when he attacks the guy, what the fuck happened there? What is that guy in the hat about? He doesn't move and he's just gone. He jumps at him. Rat jumps at the guy conducting the interview.
Destroys him.
And then he just falls out of the air and just dies. Like, the guys just sat there still. I'm like, oh, please expand on that, please.
Nah.
That's one of the things about this anime as a whole. There is so much stuff that it can expand on, and normally when it doesn't do that, I get annoyed at an anime. I'm like, why don't you just make it longer and expand on things a bit? But come the end of it, You
didn't need it, did you?
Yeah, I sort of like,
it was satisfying, wasn't it?
Don't take the sauce off the beans. You know what I mean? Like,
it just came to a resolution that you didn't need to pursue.
Yeah, and that's even when an anime
much like
that
Naruto.
But
very much so.
You watch an anime. I watched animes for like 10 years, right? And at the end of it, I'm like, no, I want more. This isn't right. You should have done this more. I want more of this. Expand on this. But with that, it was so sweet, so short and so sweet. But yet there was still so much lore, if that's what you want to call it, that it could have milked without it actually being milked. It could have just used it and it been, the right amount of use for it before it gets tiring. But it just didn't. And that's like each individual character had like a whole season that could have been done on them.
I do know. Yeah, absolutely. Easily. I mean, look, I'll say it right now. Look, if we get to a point, there's any guys out there listening in the field, look, if you want to knock out a Rabbit sub-series, I'm game, right? I'm behind it. Let's not mess about. I'm behind it, right? If you want to do a Rabbit series, I'm there, right?
I was going to say, I'm surprised. I haven't looked, to be fair. I might look for it, but I'm surprised there's not a lot of, or I haven't come across any fan fiction for it. Just doing my little bit of research about Juni Taisen and whatnot. I'm surprised on my travels, I don't come across the fan fiction. Bearing in mind, I've only really been doing a little bit of research on it for, a few hours before this, because prior to that, all I did was watch it a couple of times.
Yeah.
But at no point or another did like any sort of fan-made animation on YouTube, which normally always comes up when I'm looking at different animes.
Yeah.
Any written fan fiction, anything like that, it didn't pop up at least anyway. But this anime would be is awesome, like root material for fan fiction.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because there's so much left unsaid. There's so much you can expand upon for sure. There's so much you can do with it. There really is, and I mean. Even with that, there's so much that, we probably haven't even covered. And this is why we implore you, dear listeners, to get it watched. Seriously.
Get it watched. Maybe you can come on one of these podcasts with us and weep out with it as well. We could have a guest special on Juni Taisen.
Absolutely. Yes. And guys, please do hit us up in the comments. Let us know. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? All that stuff.
Character? What's your favourite moment?
What did you want to win?
Yeah, absolutely. Any theories, anything like that? Yeah, guys, hit us up in the comments. Let us know.
Couple of questions then, actually, before we close out. Who did you want to win? PT first.
Who did I want to win?
Yeah.
To be honest with you, it kind of split between two initially, genuinely. The latent darkness in me wanted Rabbit to win. But then the compassion in me, I don't know, I kind of fell in love with Monkey. I kind of fell in love with her.
I was intrigued by Monkey.
Yeah,
and the thing is, and don't get me wrong, like I cannot stress how much I fucking love Ox. I can't stress that enough. Like, he's so epic and just fucking noble. I love him, right? And he would definitely be a contender. But there was just something about, especially how like you even get the when Rat talks to Monkey about how she infected Chicken with a good nature. Like Chicken was literally thinking about just killing Monkey there and then. It'd be so easy just to fuck her over, blindside her.
Yeah,
But
I remember
she
thinking that was her power. I was like, that must be her
but
power.
she
But no.
couldn't bring herself to do
so
it because
nice.
Monkey's so sincere.
Yeah.
And just such a nice, good person. Especially like when you see her backstory as well, and you see how like, you know, how much of a toll her compassionate nature takes upon her.
Yeah.
You know, and how obviously she managed to like, you know, resolve that conflict, and then it ended up all going to shit, and she's crying into the fucking pancake batter. Do you know what I mean? Like,
there must be some next level kind of cunt, right? Because I watched all of that and I was like intrigued and whatnot, but I thought, I want to see what you can do. I want to see you go to your all out, but I want to see you die after that.
yeah, fair.
You want to see Monkey die? For God's sake.
But I think, yeah, but no, I think like, you know, sticking sort of true to my nature. I mean, I was very intrigued by Rat, and I really liked him as a character, and I couldn't wait to see what he's capable of. And I think because, you know, having watched the series,
you sort of change your favorites for Rat, and then afterwards looking back,
constantly.
can you only really say that's the one I wanted to win? Even though really and truly you should have made that decision by the time you've met all the initial characters. You know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely, yeah, 110%. But no, I mean, when it comes down to it, yeah, it probably would have been Rabbit. I think because, despite how like, not just because I love the fucking, you know, the darker characters, this, that, and the other, just because with his ability and this, that, and the other, he deserved to win.
I'll give you that,
he did. He really did.
It was the most
He
OP.
worked for that.
Well, shut up now.
It worked.
What about you, Clockwork?
First impression wise, I want a dog to win.
Yeah,
Like,
Dog's amazing. I loved it.
I really
him.
want a dog to win when I
Amazing
first saw
character.
him. So I was so heartbroken when he just got cut down by Chicken in a fucking instant.
Yeah.
I was
I
so
know.
heartbroken. But then when I actually got round to seeing Sheep and getting that episode on Sheep, I was like, this guy.
Oh, man.
This guy sat here planning out everything. This is my Shikamaru. I want him to win.
Yeah.
And then he wasn't my Shikamaru. And he got beaten down as well.
It wasn't anybody's. It wasn't anybody's. But I mean, it's the fact that I think the fact as well, like that he stands up and he's like, I refuse to let my family suffer through the Juni Taisen. Even though I'm an old man, I'm gonna
doing
fucking do it
Yeah.
because I want my family to live a happy life and not have to be involved in
And
this shit. And I have
Notable,
mad respect, or
Yeah,
should I
he's-
say, mad respect
Wait,
for
nice,
him, right?
nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I did really want Sheep to take it.
Yeah.
Like, for a second time as well. Like a second time winner. It's been amazing.
Oh, it would have been pretty
been
epic,
so good.
that. But I think as soon as it told us he'd won once, it kind of sealed his fate, didn't it?
Pretty much, yes, it did.
Yeah,
yes,
it kind of sealed
did.
his fate on that one.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure.
What
And you know
about
that
you?
guy.
I'd have to pick between either Dog or Rat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dog, because he just seemed like such a, I don't know,
That
just
was
a cool
so cool.
character. Rat looked like visually, like I just thought this guy's gonna be some sort of like cyber ninja.
Oh man, as soon as I
Yeah.
saw him, I saw Raiden. I was like, this guy's going to be a fucking tank.
Yeah, but I also do like that sort of. He's got that sleek, lazy, stylish, just that presence that we mentioned before, like that Ichigo from Bleach has got.
Yeah.
Is relaxed yet so tense at the same time, if that makes
Yeah,
sense. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And I do like that sort of vibe from characters. But yeah, ability-wise, I won't really have a favorite. All their abilities were all so just interesting to say. Like there wasn't obvious sort of powers that you normally see in anime, like super strength, super speed, invisibility. Like they were quite sort of finessed, each of the powers. I feel.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
like the
They were very
powers.
unique. They were very unique. Like, you know, at the end of the day, you can't argue. Even right down to characters that, you know, not, you know, no three of us were particularly like, you know, super hyped about. You can't argue with a non-reload. You know,
You can't.
when it comes from board,
You really
it's
can't.
different.
This can't create like diversity. This anime, it's not gonna like. Okay, you got your favorite characters in Naruto. You got your favorite characters. Like I always get bullied for my favorite character being Piccolo in Dragon Ball. No, I don't care. Piccolo's my boy. He's
Piccolo's
green.
awesome.
I don't care. People are like, oh my god, why are you gonna like Piccolo? Not even Vegeta. Like, come on, did this.
The
that, and the
Piccolo's a
other.
bad man.
You think that's bad? Try having Yamcha as your favourite character growing
With-
up. Alright, bitch, please. Bitch, please.
Get the fuck out of here.
No matter who anybody would say to me, nah, I don't like the character you like. I like this character. I'll be like, yeah, they're a badass as well. Like, I'm not going to argue with whoever you say is your favorite character for whatever reason, because they are all so badass.
Yeah.
Like, it's, you know what I mean?
My biggest issue is Yamcha broke the it was the cardinal sin. He broke the number one rule. You don't get a new haircut and be wank. You don't cut your hair and stay shit. That's not how it works.
Yamcha couldn't do anything. He was permanently
It needs
wank.
to mean something.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yamcha was
What the fucking hell happened?
Do you know what it was? Right, I know. I just need to defend my Yamcha pick. All right.
Go on then.
It's because he was so bad, and I always had that hope that one day he's gonna walk in and batter down Frieza, anyone like that. One day Yamcha would be the man, and I was so wrong about it. But the hope was there. And it just never happened.
Telling you,
not even Tien. Like, he was worse than Tien. Like, you know, at least you
Tien.
could tell Tien was constantly trying and pushing himself. Like, Yamcha just never looked like he was trying that hard. Just expected to get better with time because everybody else was getting stronger.
Big respect. Big respect for Tien. Big respect for Tien, because he actually trains and he actually fucking has a go.
Yeah,
I've got to say, he gets fucking involved. Even when he knows man's getting tanned, he still gets involved.
Get so, mate. Yeah.
Right, he still gets involved. But, you know, we know ultimate underdog, Choji Akamichi. But anyway,
yes.
That's another discussion for another time.
Oh yes. Well, I think that's it for this one, Juni Taisen. It's not the end of us ever discussing Juni Taisen, believe it or
come
not.
Back to it.
Definitely not. It's at least the end of this particular discussion.
Yes.
Perhaps on the next one of you guys can be involved. If you want to get involved, then pop a comment below.
Yeah, get in touch, guys. Get in touch with us. I'm sure we can work something out. But I think all that is left to say is to say thank you guys so much, as always, for joining us. We have, of course, been the SharinGANG.
Yes, we have.
Insert sound effect here.
I am that guy. You can find me on Facebook, TGW Dreads, or search for that guy with dreads. And I'm starting up on YouTube. I've got like 5 videos up there now as well. So just search for until I'm like up there in the search results. You've literally got to search type that guy with dreads vape. And then without the vape, you get all sorts of dreadlock sort of journals and stuff, and people showing you how to get your hair into locks. So you don't want that. You just want to follow. And I do vapey stuff and gaming stuff over there.
Clockwork?
I've been Clockwork Nerd. You'll find me over on Twitch, hopefully very soon. Clockwork_nerd. I will hopefully be back very soon.
Awesome. And of course, I have been PT64. You can catch me at PT64 Gaming on Twitter and Facebook. PT64 Gaming as well over on YouTube. Got the Let's Plays and whatnot. Feel free to go and check it out. And of course, the main one, you'll find me at twitch.tv/partisanturbine64. Where I'll be streaming pretty much Monday to Friday as it stands at the moment.
And it's definitely worth dropping by PT's stream.
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying that because, you know, we're SharinGANG bros, like pure entertainment. There you go.
Too kind, guys, too kind. But yes, everybody that has been listening, thank you guys so much as always. We really appreciate you joining us for this one, as we have, as always, had a fucking ball.
Peace.
See ya.
Everybody, clap your hands.